So myself and Mr. Dave Savory, which you'll see very shortly, are going through some big changes at the moment with our businesses, loads of bits and bobs happening. Obviously, I have it with Adam, he has it with Nigel. I've done a long podcast, it's 40 minutes. It's going to be broken into segments and hitting some big topics. The topic today is to do with day rate or price work. If you're new to it or you're in it, the trade, and you sort of don't know quite what to do, I talk about price a little bit in this. Dave talks about his side. The other videos that we've got coming out is about what we do about pay rise when your apprentice passes. What do you do with it? Do you buy another van? So on and so forth. And then the next one would be about people actually taking work from you, who you past employed. So we will see about that. So me and Dave, enjoy. It should be about 15 minutes long. And if we keep doing this and you like it, I can put audio files up and do it as a podcast at some point. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. So I've got Dave on.
Append it to the.
We're going to do
a fine set of whiskers there, old man. A fine set of whiskers.
Thanks, mate. And it cost me a couple of £1,000 instead of hitting puberty properly.
Yeah, a bit of a bold haircut, though, I have to say.
No, I just had a shower. My hair's all flat. Yeah, I'll quickly drop this in there. I've said this on my videos. The state of this at the moment is going through that horrible stage of being not too short, but not too long. So it's the awkward stage, you know, when it just goes like this everywhere. But my 6 months since my operation is in a few weeks. I believe it's been 6 months. So I'm trying to grow it for a video, and then I'll see what I'm going to do with it. But a lot of people are saying that I have a Hitler tash because I have blonde moustache here and here, and my black hair coming below my nose. So in certain lighting, it looks like this, which is brilliant because I also have the same birthday as Hitler. Let's get rid of the Hitler chat for the beginning of this show. What me and Dave are going to do.
I was going to bring it up myself.
Yeah. Drop myself in it there for my own channel. What we're going to do, a few topics to discuss. So me and Dave are both going through a very similar thing currently. Dave's video is now coming out. Has been out, sorry, explaining the leaving of Nigel, his dear employee from 2017. 2017 is when the business was set up, is that right?
No, 2012 was when the business set up. So I ran it as a one-man band for the first few years, and then I had another chap come and join me in 2016, and Nigel joined in 2017.
Yeah.
And then the original chap left at the end of 2017. So it's been me and Nigel ever since.
Okay. So we were on the phone today. Yeah, as of last week. So Nigel's now left and got an employed job doing maintenance and bits and bobs, which leaves Dave's on himself. Good job. So we wanted to jump on and discuss, because we started having a rant on the phone to each other about the pros and cons and this and that. I thought it's a great subject for everyone to listen to. And a few people that might be in the same boat as us could take something from it. So first of all, first topic I'm going to say to me and Dave, which we get all the time, is do you do price work or do you do day rate? What's better, the benefits of both, if we can find it in our heads to explain that? What would you think?
You're asking the wrong person. I've never felt that I've got pricing right. I still don't now. But I think at the end of the day, if you can look back on your day and figure that it was worth getting out of bed and you come out of it with a decent scratch, then you're kind of doing things okay.
Yeah.
Price work works for some people, day rate works for others. I don't tend to put in a day rate because it's questionable as to, or can be questioned as to what a day actually is. I had a job once, where I started at 9:15, had no tea breaks, took a 45-minute lunch break, and was finishing at 6:45. And I handed over the invoice to this woman for on day rate, and she started arguing with me that I hadn't been there all day because I hadn't turned up until 9:15. I'm like, it's 7:45.
Yeah,
what kind of a day do you think So I dropped the day rate after that. I do it in a different way to everybody else, probably an incorrect way. I do modular pricing, so it's sort of based on the hour. I think a few others do that. I've seen, remember Dan at DSS, he's gone a bit quiet on the old these days, but I was on his website recently and I quite like the way he does it. He charges 60 quid flat rate for an hour, with I think it's £20 for every 20 minutes subsequently afterwards.
Okay.
That's a nice, simple pricing structure. It's more simple than mine because mine tends to vary a bit.
Because you're very different. On Dave's website, it's literally, you've got it black and white, what it will be charged for the hour for, and then for after. Me, it's...
Yeah, but mine's split into several rates, and I like to charge more for the first hour, a bit less for subsequent hours. But also I've got a rate for if you're doing something like a rewire. You can go do a job, for example. I think my price at the moment with VAT is 70 quid for the first hour to turn up and do something.
Yeah.
But you can't charge 70 quid per hour on something like a rewire if you're going to be there for
at least a week.
Just going to price yourself out of it. So there's you've got to put in if you're doing that sort of thing, you've got to put in like a quantity discount price, some lower rate that applies for a longer job or something like that. They can all get a bit complicated. And with me as well, because I've had Nige with me, there are some things that are when you've got two guys on site, so what does that work out at? And if you've got two guys on site, but it's a one-man job, then you can't really charge for the other guy. It all gets a bit hairy, but it's kind of works.
Yeah,
But
and this is what we were saying
price
today.
work people.
Yeah, so I'm price work. I think I was day rate for the first probably 3 days of ever being self-employed, and I realized this isn't for me, because I never stop for lunch really. I used to get there early, never stop for lunch, never stop during the day, and then let's say I'm finished at 2 o'clock, and they're like, oh, like you say, you want to charge for the day, but then you're like, oh, it's not full day. You're not here till what they would class as 4 or 5 o'clock. I thought from
Well, I
now on,
quite like that about the sort of the hourly pricing, because if I think, oh, up to hell with this, I'm finishing at 3 o'clock or whatever, you can do so without the customer sort of thing looking at their watch, going, yeah,
yeah,
but
time watching.
because you can say, look, you're only paying me for the time I'm actually on site. If I need to come back another day, then so be it.
Exactly. And if they know, but I've
Quite
always,
fair.
so I turned around, went straight to price work. So every single job will have its own price. Just for change, a light fitting over, let's say it's a pendant straight to a fancy light fitting without me hanging all the dangly, thousands of dangly bits on it, you're looking at 15 quid per fitting. That's sort of what we look at. If we're putting a brand new socket in somewhere, depending the run and whatnot, you're looking at about £75 plus the VAT. That includes materials. And we sort of space it like things change differently, because if it's a socket that's 400 meters away in someone's mansion and there's no other sockets or circuits available, it's obviously going to be more. So it's all subjective to the job you're on and the locations and what's available. But we sort of do that. So the customer ring me up and go, I've got it on next Thursday. A lady I've worked for before, she just moved house to a flat. There's 5 light fittings to change. How much is that? I just said £15 for each fit in. There you go. She was like, yeah, no problem at all. And really, I have done her a discount on that because I know her, and because you full well it's a new build and it's going to be a singular cable into the top of the light fitting. It's going to be quicker, and I'm not going to be the type of guy.
Maybe.
Well, maybe, yeah. But I'm not the type
Some
of
of the
guy
new
to
builds
just.
around here, they're not like that. You think, oh, come on.
I've worked in this place before, so I sort of know the
All
gist
right.
of it. But you can price accordingly. Instead of me going, it's £15 per fit in, that is it, and it's a substantial amount of money in your pocket for what could possibly only take you an hour. But that's the good thing about price work, is the quicker you get it done and the quicker you get out, safely and correctly, and do your due diligence and your competency of it all, you've earned yourself a decent amount to then move on to the next job. Or you just go, sod it, I'll just have the rest of the day off. It really, you weigh up the way you want to run your business. I know, and we would both go, I'll just go home now. But people are different. If you've got the work and you can book it in, you can be thorough with it. It works really well doing price work. In my opinion, it's the better option, but I know it's completely different when you're on site, the day rates and everything. So that then leads me on to, I did a bit of research for this. This is not the electrician's podcast. We actually do research on this. And so I printed off, I was going to do it digitally on my iPad, but got the screen's up. I printed off on a website where we have the hourly rate and day rate of electricians across the UK. There was 11 pages worth. It's quite thorough. But it looks, let's say the top one here, Aberdeen, electrician near Aberdeen, hourly rate £31, day rate £255. And it sort of fluctuates very briefly around that. The top one I found, day rate 300, and I just saw it a second ago, £302 is Conway, and that is £49 an hour. And then the lowest one I saw was £214, no, £207 here, just Stoke-on-Trent, which is right next to me already then. That's £28 an hour. And this is basic. This isn't a genuine thing where it's, the Bible of, the IET or whatever. But it's a good reference to look. Realistically, if you're fully qualified spark, between £200 and £300, it's a great day rate. But that's what you're stuck at for the day. If you've got loads of little jobs in that you could put in and price as, like you say, price work, you could make that £500-600 quite easily, in my opinion. If you've got the right work and you can get to it and you do a good job, personally, I think that's a better option. You agree or disagree, Dave?
I don't like to oversubscribe my day. I don't want to be under pressure to think, right, I've got 6 clients that I want to take care of today, and I want to make come out of the day with 600 quid in my pocket or something like that. Because if you try and get too over ambitious, then it only takes that first job of the day to
One
go a
thing.
little bit awry, and then it
Yeah.
starts having a knock-on effect on everything else. And I've come across too many plumbers, especially, who are turning up to their job at 7 o'clock p.m., having told the homeowner they were going to be there in the afternoon or whatever. The
Yeah.
homeowner's taken the day off to be around with them, and then they're really annoyed because this person's turning up
Yeah.
out
And
of
I've done
hours.
it.
And
I've
yeah,
overstretched myself in the day, and you get one thing that goes wrong, and your rest of the day's pooped. But that was
yeah,
lesson
there
learned.
are other things you can do with your day. I mean, there's always the administrative tasks, the office tasks, getting the estimates out, the invoices out, and that's what I've traditionally always found quite difficult to find time
Mm.
for. Um,
I sort of used
especially,
to take a day off to do it. It used to be a Friday before Adam. I used to try and take a one day off a week to do my admin.
yeah.
Mm.
I always used to find that an emergency call would come in, and it would always be from one of my like best customers or something,
Yeah.
someone who I'm like, oh, I can't let them down. And I've done all the work there. I don't want anybody else poking around in there. I need to go and sort this out. So,
Yeah.
it would always go out the window. If, in fact, if I wanted an emergency call out job, all I had to do was book an office day in the diary and guarantee
I
it was going to
guarantee it's going
happen.
to happen. um,
Absolutely.
right. This is leading on to what you and me are going through. Obviously, so Nigel's just gone. So you are a free man doing your day-to-day stuff by yourself. You can finish at 2 o'clock and you don't have to continue paying anyone for the rest of the day. You can do whatever you want. Go pub, you can go cinema, whatever tickles your fancy. And I'm having
I
the
might go
same.
right now.
Yeah. See that, mate? It's been a blast. But I'm having the same issues with Adam at the moment. So Adam is, as of tonight, he's just set up his business bank account. He is now self-employed. So as of tomorrow, his first job we're doing, which is together but for someone else, which is for John Ballbag, Adam's going to be sending his own invoice through his brand new own Tradeify app to John separately away from me. And I'm obviously not paying him for tomorrow. It's not nothing to do with me now, which is strange for
Oh, it's
me.
all grown up.
Ooh,
To
so
bring a
proud
tear
of
to
him.
your eye.
But it got to the stage now where he's qualified, gold card, and all that stuff, and he needs more money. And I've said to him, I can't pay you any more money. And it's basic down to the fact of I obviously do more and more YouTube, less and less work, but I still keep a bit of a balance to keep paying the bills because obviously I need to go to work to film the videos. But let's say we've got an average day where I am turning around, like we did today. We did some second fixing in the kitchen. We put some spotlights up and we were finished by 1 o'clock. That job in itself, priced in, is enough for my 3/4 of a day, let's say, and Adam's 3/4 of a day as an apprentice when it was priced in and whatnot. But the customer isn't going to pay me a silly amount of money, let's say my wage twice, because now Adam's qualified, because it doesn't take two qualified electricians to second fix a kitchen. But it's not been done any quicker from 2 weeks ago when he wasn't a qualified electrician to he is now. And I can't then add another £150, £160 for two other sparks to be on the site at the same time. Our prices would go so through the roof where I just physically wouldn't have any work. So it comes to the point where do you turn around and ship them off and go, right, you've done your apprenticeship now. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Go and do your own thing, which it looks like from the outside what I've done. Or do you expand the business, which Jordan did, buy another van, spend a lot more time in the office doing paperwork, doing admin, doing invoices, quotations, all the stuff that realistically I detest, and then push Adam out on his own for realistically, in my eyes, to earn really pretty much the same that you already earn, but with 10 times more hassle. Because you went through this before, didn't you?
Yeah, when as I say, I started as a one-man band, and in 2016, I thought, you know what, I could do with an extra pair of hands. Maybe I should look to expand a little bit, and that's when Dior came on board. He was a lovely chap, young man. He'd done all his level 2, level 3, so he was good to go. Um, Good grafter, uh, very pleasant chap. And then at the same time, or just a few months later, Nigel decided he didn't want to run his business anymore. He was running his own company in Coventry. Perhaps didn't have the business head for it. I don't have a business head for running the business, and I think Nigel perhaps found it even more tedious than I did. So we thought, okay, well, if you come aboard as on the team as well as another PAYE employee, then there'll be three of us, and we can see if we can hit this a bit sort of harder and faster. And all it actually meant was I was sat in the office all day trying to bring the work in to make sure the lads were kept busy and employed, and I wasn't out on the tools myself earning anything. So it's one of those things where you've got to be careful with expansion. You've got to make sure that there is your market out there is big enough, or your forecasting is big enough to be able to keep everybody busy.
Yeah.
You can't just assume that the work is going to increase exponentially as you stick more people on board. But at that time, at least Nigel still had his own van, his own tools, that sort of stuff. So I was able to physically split us off. Neil could come with me or go with him. We could go off do different jobs if it came to it. We could join forces on another job. The problem, perhaps more recently, is that once he came, once Deal left in 2017, Nigel got rid of his van, and so we've been a sort of a one van, two-man team ever since. And like you say, that becomes problematic on some jobs because they're not two-man jobs, and they're not going to get done any quicker just because two of you are there. One of you standing with their hands in their pockets, or the other one's up the ladder changing the bathroom fan, or a light fitting, or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can't pay for two qualified sparks when one of them's just handing up tools, etc. So
Yeah.
you have to sort of, even with the modular pricing that I've got, where you say, okay, it's this much per man per hour, you have to look at some jobs and go, yeah, but I can't charge that.
It just seems unfair. I know, and this is what I'm having now. I've got fuse boards booked in, and if there's other jobs to do, we did a fuse board the other day. I think the video probably is already out, and I'm doing the board up on top of a kitchen cupboard, and Adam is outside doing armored cables to another fuse board. Like it was a great little duo we had. I filmed that. He filmed his own stuff. It was a good bit of money in for the day, and that was it. But the next few I've got booked in, we've already done the ICRs on, and it's just a straight board swap. And it will literally be me changing the board, doing it all, and Adam will literally just be passing me stuff or just prepping the board a little bit. And I can't
You're doing it wrong because you're the boss. You should get him doing the work while you.
Well, the thing is, I enjoy doing my job, and at the same time, I can still do it quicker than Adam. And the quicker I do it, we get the job finished, we can go, being on a price, not day rate. Because I feel like some people on day rates and whatnot would drag out the day to earn more money. But I believe, I saw this video years ago about, it was a cruise ship or whatever, and the engine blew up. I don't know if you ever heard this. Cruise ship engine blew up, and people were looking for mechanics to come and fix the engine or whatever. And they were like, oh, it's call out for this, call out for that. And a guy turned up with a hammer and just hit it in the right place. It turned back on, and he was like, 20 grand. It's like, what? You're only here for 5 seconds. You just hit it. He was like, yeah, but my 30 years experience, I knew how hard to hit it and where to hit it. So you're paying for someone's experience, not just their time. So why should I be penalized for doing a job quicker just because I have more experience?
Exactly. You're paying for the job to be done. It doesn't matter how quickly. I mean, I've got a couple of blogs on the website where I've had customers before who called me out for fault finding, and I found the fault too quickly for them.
Yeah, see, it's mental.
Then they query the bill. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay this. You call me out of hours, and I've sorted it out for you. And what else were you going to do? You couldn't sort it out for yourself. I tried to diagnose it over the phone. You couldn't figure it out. You wanted me to come. I've turned up when you wanted me to. I've sorted it out. Just because my tools, training, and expertise allowed me to find the fault quicker than Joe Blogs up the road, who might have taken 3 times as long, doesn't make me worse value for money.
Exactly. Well, you shouldn't be penalized for knowing how to do your job. Or I'm running out of time. So it's saying on the thing, but limited meetings and upgrades, save up to 16%. I have 9 minutes and 50 seconds left.